Hi and welcome to the Trading Bell Show. We are right here at AA Kenya, and these guys have just gotten a new title, PLC, and I'll be speaking to Francis Theuri, the CEO, AA, to tell us about their journey and what they're looking forward to and whether you can probably soon enough be an investor. So come with me as we have that conversation with the CEO. Francis Theuri is the CEO, AA Kenya. As a hands-on-deck executive with a proven track record of driving organizational growth and success, Mr. Francis is a dynamic leader with a strategic vision that transcends boundaries. With an unwavering commitment to excellence and a keen understanding of global business dynamics, he has consistently propelled AA to new heights through innovative strategies and transformative leadership. He has over 2 decades of leadership experience, having navigated various industries with finesse. His journey encompasses success tenures in banking multinational corporations before joining AA Kenya as the CEO in 2017. Some of the notable achievements is the orchestration and execution of forward-thinking strategies that fueled revenue growth and market expansion of AA Kenya, having opened 20 new branches, global expansion where he is currently eyeing on the cross-border and cross-cultural collaborations with other AA clubs and expansions in Africa, and an innovation advocate pioneering innovation initiatives leveraging technologies such as safe to load and heavy goods vehicle valuation in the country. Francis Theuri, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us here. It's a beautiful corner here in Upper Hill.
Thank you.
And first of all, I must say congratulations on having the PLC title on you. And I don't know how that feels. Let me start by asking you, how does it feel to have a PLC title?
Wow. It's quite exciting.
It's quite
exciting, yes. It's a journey that we started like 3 years back.
Yes.
And we're happy that we are this far.
Great.
Yes.
Let's first of all actually understand the journey. And before we even go to the journey of you getting to the PLC, the journey of AA. A lot of people who could be watching today just see maybe these vehicles, and you have a great name out there. There's a time where I have seen people advertise when they're looking for drivers, all those kind of things, and they would say specifically, you know, people who have been trained under AA. So you were one of the reputable brand that we have out here. And what has been the journey like of this 104, if I got it correct, 104-year-old company?
Yes. It's been quite an exciting journey. Let me say this. 104 years old, not many companies are that old. It started in 1919 in a country which didn't have a load, didn't have a vehicle, didn't know all these things that we're doing now. And you know, the journey has been what is required in the mobility industry, and it was only us. It will be interesting for you to note that we were registered under the Queen's Act to support East Africa with mobility. So it's been a journey of mobility. You know, we don't have a road. How do we get the roads in this country or in East Africa? So we do you know, navigation of loads. We try to see how do we get to Mombasa, and we do all that. Actually, we started the first road in this country, the Nairobi Mombasa, you know, road by then, not highway. That was done by AA. Actually, the first Harambee in this country was done by AA to do that road.
Interesting.
The first vehicle in this country, the Lille B3, was actually brought into this country by AA to test the roads.
Wow.
And that vehicle is still available up to now.
Or still somewhere?
It was on display when we are celebrating 100 years. But this old organization now is quite young.
It's now quite young.
Yes.
And fresh.
Quite young, very fresh, quite innovative. You know, has, you know, done all that needed to be done those years. If you think about the journey, in 1952 we started a membership. You want a car, become a member of AA, and then we support you to get a car. In 1962, we started the first driving school. You want to learn how to drive? Then you come to AA, we teach you how to drive. Nowadays we have many driving schools. But for us, it was not a commercial entity. It was more about preparing the country, you know, for drivers, because by then the Mzungu was leaving, and we didn't have Africans who knows how to drive, and so we needed to train our Africans. And you know, it has been a journey. People want to know the value of their vehicles. Who does that? Then we start that department. We start now inspecting vehicles, you know, valuing vehicles, telling institutions like, you know, the leading institution, this is how much it's worth. Talking to insurance companies, you want to insure the vehicle, this is how much it's worth, and so on and so forth. We proceeded to with that direction and realized people now have vehicles. They want to manage them. So we come up with fleet management. We start managing fleets for corporates. And every other day we're becoming more innovative and looking at what is required in this industry.
Okay.
Think about the very recent innovations in AA.
Yeah.
Is to say, we have people, members who are traveling abroad. They are delayed somewhere on the, you know, in an airport. You are struggling on your own. You want AA to come in and support you. And so, given that AA is a member of a global organization called FIA, I'm sure you all know about it. And FIA is clearly known for Safari Rally, which we are learning for 50 years, but now it's being done by the government.
Yes.
FIA is known for Formula One rallies and so on, you know, and so it's a big global organization that takes care of road safety and so on and so forth. And so we have a lot of products that they have, and we can leverage on that, you know, that affiliation to bring that benefit to our members here. So right now, you are anywhere globally, you are delayed by a flight, you just log in into our app and we support you, and you get to the next VIP lounge, regardless of how much it costs, to be free for you.
I'm curious to ask you this, because a lot of people, as I said again, I am one of them. We think of AA, it's the nice colored vehicles that we see outside that help people get to know how to drive. Looks like from what you're speaking, you have an array of products that you offer. Very quickly, could you mention them as AA? What are you doing?
There are actually about 22 products.
Oh no, okay, I'll only give you 5. Just mention like 5 or so.
Like you said, driving school is one of them. We have evaluation and inspection. And inspection is big. Inspection for us is not just the evaluation that you see. In this country, in most of the corporates which are dealing with the hazardous materials, before you load, like fuel, you get inspection from AA. So we have our staff in those depots, you know, inspecting those vehicles. Before you get to Shagwani and get into an accident, we check whether your vehicle has good brakes and so on and so forth. So we do a lot. There is a requirement in this country that all the commercial vehicles, those heavy trucks vehicles, they have to have their brake tested twice in a year. So we have that equipment that you test those vehicles. So we do a lot other than probably what people know. We are on the load assist business. So you're on the load, you have an issue, we'll be there to rescue you. Your vehicle cannot move, you'll be there to tow it, you know, and to the next level. We are now getting into service centers to say we are towing it to where. So we tow it to a service center where we can now either guide you on how to handle that, or even think about it. From those early days, we have certified garages. You know, we have a way of checking the garages are, you know, complying with what is required. And so we have, you know, AA certified garages. But what are we saying? We are saying, even as we have those in various towns, some of our members still want to be their vehicles to be handled by AA. So that's why we are getting into service centers. So we have a lot of products. Membership is clearly our biggest product, because that means, are you a vehicle owner? You want that security by knowing that you are a member of AA. In any case, you have any issue, you want any guidance, any advice, then you come to AA and we'll guide you. So we have a lot of products. I love that, and it's quite a number. I think we shall have another session just talk about the many of them. Thank you for that preamble to really understand this. Let's talk about your journey to the exchange, because the other day I saw you give a powerful conversation. I mean, it was a speech that you gave on your journey through Buka to the exchange and all that. I would want you to start it from what informed that, and now that you're here, then we can talk about progress later on. So COVID comes in. And every other company in this country was challenged. It was also challenged. We had a lot of challenges. NTSA closed driving school. The government closed the institute. We have a big institute that trains on defensive driving and all mechanical courses, electrical and so on. So that was also closed. So we started realizing we are struggling. We started realizing the future is becoming uncertain. We don't know what the future holds. And we were not very clear. Remember, globally, nobody knew what COVID was. And so we were pushed to a corner. We had to start rethinking. And so we went somewhere and thought
like
about
any
it.
Other
and
business,
like any other
absolutely.
business.
Yeah.
And we asked, what next? And so we started developing a strategy for the next 5 years. And I remember one person in that team, my executive team, saying, we are doing a strategy and we don't know where this COVID is taking us to. We said we better have one than not have anything. So we started thinking about what we want to do differently. And we realized we want to, as COVID eased up, we started realizing we need to be everywhere. We need to support our customers from wherever they are. We want to have a branch in every other county. So we need about 23 more branches in county headquarters where we are not presented or represented. We started realizing we have people who were in dire need of us. Because remember, during the close down, we were open. So anybody who had an issue would call AA. So we saw the need to be everywhere. So we started thinking about expansion. We started thinking about other products that we do not have, but other clubs in FIA. Our AAs in other clubs, AA Uganda, AA Tanzania, AA Canada, AA UK, and so on, are having, that were really assisting people during COVID, like Home Assist. And Home Assist is, you are in that room, you have a problem, you need a plumber. What do? You call AA. And we have a platform where we're able to connect you with the right plumber next to you. You have an issue, you need an ambulance. You call AA and we connect you with the next ambulance, and so on and so forth. And we mapped out all that we needed to do. And then we realized it's not going to be a simple thing. We need a huge capital outlay to be able to do all these things. And then we looked at our capital and we realized, no, we need to go out and get the capital. We started thinking about, where do we get this capital from? Number one was, do we liquidate our assets? The buildings we have and so on? We said, no, we can't. I don't think it's even enough for what we're looking for. At that moment, we were looking for about 5 billion. And then we said, so what next? And then we said, I think let's go to the banks and look for debt capital. Then you go to the banks, it's very expensive. You can't afford it, and they can't give you the money you want. We started thinking about strategic partnerships. Who can come in, those angel investors and so on. Then we realized we are going to sell our, history, our AA to other people. We said, no, we're not going that route. And then we settled on equity. But then we had a problem. We are settling on equity, but then we don't have shareholders. We are a membership organization. And so that's when we went to look for experts. And we added in NSC. And Jeff, being an expert in that area with his team, they were, like, welcome, you're home. And they started training us. They started exploring possibilities with us. They got experts for us, legal advisors, transaction advisors, tax advisors, PR agencies, and so on, all the people. And then they even negotiated for us so that we don't pay that much. Because again, that can be, be too much. And so we started the journey. And the first thing was, we have to change from a member-driven organization to a share-driven organization. And that is the process called demutualization. That demutualization has taken like 2 years. It's a process. And starts with getting everybody coming here, looking at our organization, trying to clean up data and so on and so forth, and guide, look at governance issues, look at and so on and so forth. But we're happy we went that route because we are through with that.
That's good.
We are clean. We are happy. And so after that, the next stage was now to raise capital. And given that we are raising capital from this group of people called our members.
The members,
then we had to do a restricted public offer, which is what is happening now. Started on 11th last month, ending next week on 27th of November. And that will be the first stage of raising capital. And then after that, subject to all the regulatory approvals, then we see whether we can go to NSC listing.
That's lovely.
Yes.
Let me ask the members question, if I may ask that. So did they get the first priority of first of all being the first shareholders or so, and how was the reception when you told them you're demutualizing?
Yeah. We had an AGM, we discussed it.
All right.
They were very excited. We got all the approvals that we required. They were the first one to own the organization, to buy shares into it. The response has been wonderful.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yes.
No, lovely.
Yes.
And of course, I mean, from where I sit, it's just to welcome you as well and say Karibu Sana to the PLC department. Yes. There you go. Yeah. Let's talk about, you've mentioned about it's a restricted offer definitely to your members.
Yes. Yeah.
When do you hope that you can become public so that at least I, who looks at you and says, at least I was taught driving there, I want to own part of that company. Do you see this happening soon?
Very, very soon. If not next year but one.
Wow.
That will happen.
That's good news for the people who believe in you.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's talk about the plans that you have. You are out here and you really were looking for these funds, which you're already in the process of raising. And I think you're about to even close. And what are the plans that you're putting in place? Are there certain things that you really hope to achieve? I'm sure you've been informed by your strategy that you said. This is not to steal anything for your competitors, to note anything, but could you give us what we want to see in the near future? What do I see as the future of AA? What do we want to see immediately we raise this capital? We want, first of all, to expand in terms of our footprint, like I've just said. We want to open a number of new branches. You do realize that our part of our business, we have to be there present. So it has to be brick and mortar. Because you have to be there with a car to train a driver. Absolutely. So we might be opening another more, about 40 or so branches in a very near future. The next item that we are planning to do is to expand geographically into African region. We want to get into a partnership with AA Namibia, AA Rwanda, and we're also going to DRC. Why? They are not big clubs. Like we call, in the FIA we call them clubs. Clubs, yes. They are not big organizations, and so they have one or two products. They have the membership. Some of them just have membership alone, or some of them are just doing, like sports. The safari rally and so on. You're right. But they don't have the mobility part of it, and so they want us to go there and start the mobility. That presents a huge opportunity for us as an organization, and so we want to get into that line of business. We have started new business lines, and we are just to launch more. FIA has two divisions, three actually. We have mobility, we have sports, and we have tourism. And so we've started venturing into tourism. Let me explain that a bit. Go ahead. In this country, if you want to travel out with your car, you need two documents to travel out with your car. You need a passport for the car. Okay. That cannot be given by the government. That can only be given by AA. So you come to us. So that is tourism. Because a lot of people who are going out with the vehicles are actually going to tour Africa or whatever. You're right. Road trips. Road trips. Then you need an international driving permit. For you to be allowed to drive in any country in this world, you have to have an AA document called IDP, International Driving Permit. Again, that can only be given by us. And so we were at a push from FIA to offer, a full bouquet of tourism products. And so we are getting into that. So we need a lot of capital to get into that. And so that will happen soon. So in terms of diversifying into new products, we also have a lot of products in terms of our digital space. With all due respect, if you think about it, if you have an issue allowed, any corner of this country, most likely you might see a Land Rover coming to tow you, rescue you, and sometimes you get into trouble. We want to organize that market and we want to give them a platform. So that is an area that we're getting into. And we've had
various discussions,
Yeah.
and I think very soon you see something coming up. Something close to a Nubank for towing.
Okay.
So you have an issue.
Something that looks nicer.
Exactly, nicer, exactly.
The ones that I see in town are scaring me.
Yeah. So you have an issue, and you get into a platform, and you're able to see who is next to you, who can rescue you.
Wow.
And that person will be trained by us, and will be operating, with some standards.
That's a game changer, because sometimes even trying to get one is always trouble. Someone who knows someone, that's the only way out.
Exactly.
So that would be great.
Exactly.
Which speaks to the question I wanted to ask about how you're embracing technology, and I think you've already mentioned on that. Maybe you could add one more on that. But as you add on that, I wanted to ask you, we are seeing a lot of changes, especially in the automobile industry.
Yeah.
By the changes, I mean, people are talking electrical moving, thinking matters of efficiency, and which speaks to the future of your business a lot. And I know you're already seeing that from your purview, how the conversation is going globally and even here locally, and what you're seeing. The other thing I see is the challenge that we're seeing right now. When I speak to many captains of industry, there's a strain to the customer, and I'm sure that has an effect to you, because if the customer can't think of owning one, then it has an effect directly on you as well. Speaking to the challenges that you're facing, I just wanted to hear from your end, are there a tray of challenges that you've seen, and what are you looking at in the future to overcome these particular things?
A couple of things.
Yeah.
We have a challenge.
Yes.
Supported by FIA, we conducted a research on electric mobility, just to see whether it's something that is going to be accepted by Kenyans and by Africans, actually.
Yes.
Initially, we had done another research on the safety of our vehicles, the vehicles coming to our country. We call them grey vehicles.
Yes.
And we bought some of the vehicles from our market here.
Yeah.
New, reconditioned.
Yes.
The way they come, either from Japan or from wherever else.
Yeah.
And we sent them to Germany for testing.
Yeah.
And they are clashed. Yes.
Okay.
Just look at the safety features.
Yes.
And we were scared. I know I'm here to release that report. It will be coming soon. And so we started looking at what is it that drives people to buy the vehicles they buy. Because when you look at the vehicles which probably a lot of us are buying, is one, you want to buy what you can afford. Number two, what you think you get somebody to support. Sorry,
it's okay.
When you're in trouble.
Yes.
So you go for, as an example, Toyota, because you think there are parts allowed, there are people who understand it, and so on and so forth. What about electric vehicles? What about even those hybrid vehicles?
Yeah.
A lot of people are not very sure. If I get into trouble, what happens? And so we want to give that assurance that AA will be there. And we'll be able to support you. And so what did we do? We first of all attended a training abroad on this. And then we invited them to come and play and train our people. And I think in the last 2 weeks, we've been training our staff on electric mobility.
Yeah.
I was laughing with one of the trainers, from Vienna, because the prototype that he was culling looked like a bomb. Yes. but it's a very good training, instrument on electric mobility. So to answer your question, yes, we are ready for that challenge. Yes. And very soon we'll be telling people, just get the comfort. Buy your electric vehicle. We are here.
I love that you've addressed that. I just want to ask you, just delving on the same. What's your current, right now, the way it is? What's this thing that keeps you awake and you're like, we need to cross this hurdle? Any other challenge that you face?
I would say for the time being is we have a very ambitious strategy. Yeah. We have now this capital raising that is still ongoing. Yes. That is what keeps me awake. Until that is done, then we can address the others. Okay, so as we come to a close, there are people who are looking at you and saying, I'm curious to know the findings, because the NSC, as you said, it was a very thorough process. I mean, took 1-2 years until you are onboarded. Yeah. One would want to hear from your end as the CEO, what's the quality of what you're going to offer out in terms of, is this a company
to run to. And so what I'm asking you is the assurance you want to give your investors, your shareholders, so that at least the moment they will get a chance, they can jump in. What's your message to them?
I think to our members and our shareholders, I'm sure they know. This is a company to watch.
Yes.
It's not just an industry which probably has one product that they are manufacturing and is subject to those shocks. It's an organization they have been with for 100 years plus. It's an organization they have seen growing. The future looks very bright. I like what one of the advert was saying. You need glasses. Look at the future of it because it's too bright. We have a lot of projects ongoing. Projects that probably will take us to the next level. I think our challenge has been, the funds to do that. Now we are raising the funds, and so we expect that this will be a great one for us.
Great. And I had said that was a final question, but Ibuka helped you to get where you are. And there could be companies saying, if AA went there, I'd want to hear whether this is a place to go if I'm thinking about capital raising. What's your message to them based on Ibuka?
I would say this. We are all operating in an environment which is quite volatile.
You're right.
In an environment which is tough. I know a lot of organizations are looking for ways of raising capital. And for me is to say Ibuka will be the best place to be. Do I able to hard holders, to trainers? Do I able to give us the consultants, the people to support us? Do I able to negotiate for us, the pricing, And I think they have the credibility, and so they know what need to be done. One of the things that gives me the comfort is to know that whatever we've done in the last 3 years, we had NSC, Ibuka, holding our hands. So anytime we are not very clear on what to do here, we go to them, and they already know what we need to, and what need to be done. And so that is the place to be. Yes.
Thank you so much for your time.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There you have it, Francis Theuri, the CEO, AA Kenya PLC. I love to use the word PLC for them. And he's very optimistic that, listen, this is the company to watch because the plans they have, the strategy, and once they got the money, you better look at that company and be an investor as well. You have that potential. He says in a year or so, you might be as well an investor with them. Thank you so much for your time. I'll leave you now with the markets.